All right, Bitcoin, last day of April. We're at 94K, down a little bit, but we had some negative kind of events happen this morning. Maybe a little market reaction to that on USD events. Job openings, new jobs, much lower than expected. And, maybe we're seeing just a result of that, a knee-jerk reaction. So, final day of April, we got to watch for what Bitcoin monthly closes. We'll visit that in just a minute. But let's start off here on the daily so we can know what to be expecting in the days and weeks ahead here. So what we like, what we don't like, and what we like. Let's get to both. Well, we're hesitating under our green zone, which we looked at yesterday, right? Previous support, new resistance, no surprise there. If we retrace, right, have the EMA 8, which we'd like to hold. Anytime you start to hold the EMA 8, you can get even bigger moves just ahead, like bigger than this even. That should be the expectation because we are bullish. We're in a nice new uptrend here for the bulls to maintain biggest momentum. And if we want to get right through this zone, knock on the door of 100K again, well, we've got to get a power candle going through here. And that could very well be loading because we haven't given anything back yet. We haven't closed under the 8. If we do close under the EMA 8 today, tomorrow, going into the weekend, that number is at 93,277 as of right now. If we see a close under there, that just increases our odds of going lower to the next one. We have the EMA 14 right there, about 91.5. But the biggest spot on the daily chart, if we kind of break the ice here down below us, would be the 21 EMA, which will be just above 90,000. And you also have the fib retrace from our swing low to our high here, right around 90,000 as well. And both of those would be, that's pretty big support. Right, so we broke above the EMA 8 here back in early mid-April. We were still trying to gain traction on the EMA 8, so we tagged both the EMA 8 and the 21 a couple times here before making our move up. So going back in history, anytime we've tried to make a big reversal like this, like let's just go look at the last time, back last September, October, right? We made a move up. We tried to hold the EMA 8 and 21, hold the EMA 8, 21. When we break below the 8, the red line, historically, like you're just gonna need some more time, right? You just can't get into your traction yet. So we broke well under that time, right? It's kind of typical the first time you're trying to gain traction, but once you start to hold like a bigger move, right? We were just kind of dabbling in new highs. When we start to like flirt with ultimate highs, like macro higher highs, like this area, that's when you start to generally hold the bigger levels. So the EMA 8, we tried to. We broke below that, but we wicked right to the 21, the yellow line. Go back up again. We tried to hold it. We closed below the 8. We went right to the 21 again. And then we started getting bigger traction here. When you start to hold your 21, the momentum is, building for the bulls. Or if you start to hold resistance, right, the opposite. Your momentum's building for the bears, right? If you invert these charts, like similar vibes in a bear market, like this is where you'd want to be watching as well, right? These would just be opposite color candles. So inverting the charts can, put different perspectives on here. So that's what we're trying to do now. But the fact that we've gone up here and just basically gone sideways is most certainly bullish. So we want to be leaning in that direction. Don't get caught off guard based on someone else's bias, right? Be biased on the price, if anything. Price is looking bullish by definition. Until we close on the EMA 8, you have to assume higher first, even though we are at big time resistance here in this green zone. But once we get above here, I think not only are we going back to 100, but I think new all-time highs relatively quickly once we do that. And if we do that, right? Nothing's certain or guaranteed for sure. But that's, to the high, right? If you just break above 98, 99K, get above here. This week, next month, who cares? It's game over for the Bears in my book. Now that's just my opinion, but game over for the Bulls would only happen if we get back into this red zone and put in a kind of lower low. At this point, right, we've talked about this a couple times this week already, like based on this 3-day chart, this double bottom confirmed here with this new high, we shouldn't be going back below there. This would just invalidate all structure. The Bears would be out in full force, and you would want to take that lightly. And not that we would go like definitively to a straight line to hell, but the highs would almost certainly be in at that point if we make a lower low, right? If we start to close back in this red box, that's why it's red. The highs would not only be in here, but this would likely also be a new the ultimate high, right? If we go down here again, we're probably not going to see 95 in anymore, right? Going over to a bear market, not that we couldn't bounce up to like mid 90s, low 90s, sometime late summer before, you know, the ultimate, you know, year-long bear market. I wouldn't be looking for, you know, if we come back into this red zone, I wouldn't be looking for a new high for probably 2 years, and probably the end of the bear market sometime in Q1 of 2026. That's if we start to close down in here. Now, I don't think that that's the likely scenario. I'm still in the bullish side of the fence. I still think we're going back up here. But you always want to, you know, you don't want to have your blinders on just in case. And again, if we break down in here, just if right, here's our 1618 initial resistance on support for that inverse, retrace. Okay, so just side note on that, you have your 200, that, but we'd have a long time to get there, and I don't even think it's worth really talking about until we at least get into the yellow zone again. So we'll kind of wrap it up with a bearish talk until we start to see like maybe low 80s again. If we don't, like, this is yellow zone for, you know, not necessarily bearish, not really bullish. So until we get into the red box, or at least close to it, we'll kind of omit talking too much about the bears, because the bulls are here and we don't need to, worry about the bears too much, but just keep it in your rear view, right? Okay, so 3-day chart. We just closed our previous candle as a spinning top. So that's just indecision, not neither bullish nor bearish. Colors don't really matter, just like this one, right? And we have 8 hours till we close this 3-day candle. Spinning top, colors don't matter, right? Not nearly bullish or bearish. It's the wicks, it's the small candle body. The bulls just taking a breather with bears whispering in their ear. So don't put too much weight into this. You're leaning bullish because confirmation of a double bottom. You've broken the high, and you're just waiting, in the launch bay, hopefully ready to, nuke again to the high side. The top of this zone is coincidentally, right, it's because of this high close right here, 98.3. Close above 98.3 on a daily, a 3-day, a 4-hour. Much more likely that we have some real fun times just ahead later this year. So in the meantime, the 2-3, 90K that we looked at on the daily still looks like probably going to be a good level if we come back down here within the next week or two. Give us some patience, right? We've had a nice move up, right? Some consolidation, or a throwback to around 90 to 88, 87K, somewhere, anywhere in this level would still be bullish. We could paint that light green. Imagine that's light green in your mind. Okay, so this would be okay, right? It would keep us healthy. If we move up before then, that's great. We might have a bigger move up, like something like this, but we'd also have probably one of these guys coming, like a big red candle coming at some point, because you're getting a little bit oxygen deprived if we start to get up in this area. So just keep that in mind. If we do have another 7, 8, 9, 10% candle up here, like, let's just see where that gets us, right? So if even 5% gets us into the bullish rocket ships, 10% gets us knocking on all-time high doors, and major resistance again because previous all-time highs, and we might very well do one of these numbers where we, just saying, if so, right, if we do get one of these guys, I would expect maybe one of these guys too, and kind of a throwback to this big level, especially if we break right through it, because we would have, just an unhealthy rise here, and to remain healthy, we'd have to have a bigger correction. So just throwing that out. If we see a move up to 100K plus over the next week or two, I would almost certainly expect a move back down, maybe a 10K candle, like back down, right? That's a $7,000 candle, but something similar to this, where we just continue to move up, be quicker than that, and then more compact, something like that. Kind of a mini version of this, but we'd almost certainly come down at that point. So if we move up higher, great. Definitely leaning bullish, but I would expect a bigger correction at that point. We can talk about that more as we get to it. As for now, we're just waiting on closes. Let's get to the weekly. Bullish close, weekly indecisive, about the least volatile candle we've seen since 2 weeks ago. That was about the least volatile candle week we've had in over a year. This guy right here, just 2 weeks ago. And yet we're, I think, doing less volume than that and less volatile than that week, just 2 weeks later, after a big move though. So we'll take it. 10% move, right? We can rinse and repeat if you want. We can have a boring week and then an explosive week and then a boring week and then an explosive week. I think we could all live with that. But then also, like, keep in mind, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that'd be 5 green weeks in a row and, potentially like a 35, 40% move. Like, so let's keep it in perspective if we get up here and not think that we're just going to 120K in the next 72 hours or something like that. Like, maybe a lot of people will be screaming if we do get up here, but just be mindful of that. I think the odds are still more consolidation and or kind of a retrace down to somewhere around 90 or 88K. Like anything down in here, don't panic. Do not fall for bears at this point. This is not bearish. Anything above 88K, you should be, not financial advice, but you should be buying anything you can between there and there. If we start to get down in here, maybe you cut your losses a little bit because we're back in the caution zone. You don't want to get too crazy here because what's just below it, right? We have some trouble down here. You're not going to escape this guy. But, anything between here and here, if you've missed this and you got caught off guard back here, like this is the spot. Especially if we go down a little bit, right, that's 5 to 10% off of the highs. I think that would be maybe your final, final all aboard call here. If we're going to new highs, if you think new all-time highs are coming, which I'm still in that boat, like a revisit to these high wicks. Maybe we just get a wick down here, tap the EMA 8 here next week or two, and then, remain healthy. And then we could see maybe over yonder here. Like, see these guys? We could easily get that again in the within the next month, certainly in the month of May. So altcoins will likely recover. I think altcoins are kind of waiting on Bitcoin to get back above here to make their bigger move and for Bitcoin dominance to simmer down. Bitcoin dominance is almost at 65 now at, again, cycle highs. Week over week, it's seemingly and almost factually higher highs every week for Bitcoin dominance. So it's been Bitcoin cycle, but I think that'll start to fade, up in here after it gets us out into space. That's typically Bitcoin's job, get altcoins out to space, and then kind of, everyone's like, oh, we're bullish again. Bitcoin might, give us another 50% or a 2x from here. What would give me more, right? That's usually the mindset of the masses once we start to get up here again. Like, oh, Bitcoin's not going into a bear market. I've kind of missed the boat on Bitcoin. Maybe I should try to catch some alts. Do I do Ethereum? Somebody hasn't checked Ethereum in 2 years. Same price, bud. Okay, so enough jokes on that. The memes are everywhere on Ethereum. We can look at Ethereum soon. I don't know if we need to, but okay. So hopefully that's kind of give you a pretty solid picture of my outlook here. Let's go look at the monthly since we closed today. 8 hours. Absolutely great candle. We can't ask for more than this. When we were at 74K, if I told you we were going to close at 94K, you wouldn't believed it. Get rid of our little thing there. And why are we hesitating here on the monthly? Like, hello. Low close, high close. Where did it close at? I wouldn't be surprised if it closed like right on this. 93.6, 93.5. We close right at 93.5, 93.6. Let's see if we're right tomorrow. I really wouldn't doubt it. I would love to close just above it. That would be a little bit more edge for the bulls, just a kind of little nut tap to the bears. Okay, so next month, absolutely could see, pretend we're in this month, right? Knocking on the doors of getting through. Or even this month, like who cares? Like who that's May and that's June? Okay. Or this is April and that's May. I think we'll take it. What do you say? All right, that's that. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll go figure out how to rhyme a little bit better.